I'm Angelina, and welcome back to another episode of our interviews. As always, feel free to open up the transcript or the description to better follow along and learn more about our guest speakers. Hello, thank you so much for coming to this call today and talking with us. Do you mind to just start off, walk us through your journey, whether it be like academic journey, personal journey, and what you do today?
Okay, so my name is Karrie, and I'm living in UK at the moment. But I'm originally from Hong Kong, so it's a little bit strange my story. So I was born and bred in Hong Kong, and then after a GCSE level, so it's about high school level, pre-college, I failed all my exams. So I cannot studying in Hong Kong anymore. So that is the reason why I go to the UK to continue the like pre-university. So we got a level called A level. It's just before university. So that is how I coming to do. And from growing up, I'm really good at mathematics. It's one of my thing. If everyone think about me, what I'm doing at school and things like that, it's always about, oh, Carrie is the math girl. She just love it. So that is how I started. And after I finished A level, when I applied for university, my school teacher is really cool because I don't know you because I'm living in a culture because my birth parents still in Hong Kong, but I live in UK, so I kind of got that culture. The Western culture is if you're good at anything, you want to do something, do whatever you want to do. The sky is your limit. You can do whatever you want. But in the Asian community, it's more like, oh, you if you're good at mathematics, you be a math teacher? Can you be an accountant? Can you be something more kind of professional, like kind of like traditional? So when I applied for university, I kind of got to debate, if that makes sense. Like my family want me to do accounting and finance, that subject that after you finish, you can get a job. And then but my teacher at school in UK said to me is like, Karrie, you are one of the best students I got. Like you're the second best in my whole career. If you don't do mathematics at university, it will be waste of your talent. So that is that moment. And also when I apply for university in UK, that is a process that I need to ask my school to make me a reference to say that how good or bad I am, kind of thing. So for me, of course, I will go to my math teacher because it's my, the best subject ever. So but he said to me, if I do not apply for math, he's not going to write me a reference. So I mean, it kind of another way to kind of like support me because he's just like, oh, you're so good at math. Why don't you want to do it? And in my heart, when 17 years old me, I'm still kind of like, oh, should I listen to my parents to not make them angry, or should I follow my heart to do math that I like? So if you ask me what kind of career, what kind of thing that I want to do at that moment of time, I didn't know. I just know that math is something that I really excel and good at. But other side of the world, I just don't know. And also I tried to do accountant in my before university. It's just not my calling, let's put it this way. So after that, I applied for math to do university, and thank God that I go to university, I do 3 years of my course and things like that. So during my university, the first year in my university, uh, my grandmother in Hong Kong who passed away during the time that when the ambulance take her to the hospital. It was a heart attack. So she is the type of lady that who always really healthy, never really go to hospital. It's like I was really shocked because the day before I was still telling her that, well, I'm doing great at school. I'm going to see you in the summer, and things like that. And then the next day she passed away, and you just like, wow, things just suddenly boom in your head. It's like, what the hell is going on? And because of that, I always want to know what happened to grandma that day. What it is. Is that something that I can do to help? Is that something that I can understand a little bit more? So that is how when I in university is like that. So at that moment of time, data science is not a thing. So we don't even know what data science is yet. It's not a subject yet because I'm talking about 20 years ago. So data science is not a thing. Coding, like being a programmer, is not really a girl subject. So we're not really taught in university. We're not really taught in like school yet. But if you're doing computer science, you will do coding. But in math, we don't really do that much. So at that moment of time, I just thought, oh, if I can find a job that can make me understand the grammar situation, that would be cool. So I didn't realize that I can find a job in the hospital and working on looking at patient and data and information about like how they get sick, how long they stay in the hospital, what kind of treatment they got, and using data and mathematics. So that is opened my eyes a little bit like, whoa, I really enjoy it. And I didn't realize that I don't need to be a doctor or nurses that who go into a healthcare sector. And I feel like I'm helping people as well because I I'm not a type of person that really articulate. I'm not a number person. I'm a number person that who understand the world full number full that kind of surrounding. So for me to understand healthcare, your body, your health full number is I find it really impressive. And also I can explain to other people who similar background to me, it's like who always all love number but don't like word, don't like anything. We can have that kind of understanding, like, oh, actually knowledge can be due through number as well. So that is how I do my journey. And what I'm doing now is I'm working in the hospital or national health service because in the UK it's a government system that you don't need to pay for. You don't need to have an insurance. You can just go to hospital and they need to treat you because that is a government funded and stuff. So I have been working with the government in that sector for about 10 years. And then afterward, I working in a pharmaceutical company for another 3 or 4 years because I always think that you got treatment, but you also need drugs and medicine. So kind of linked together. So now I am working for myself at the moment. I got a company that who take different data science project with hospital or a pharmaceutical company. So that is part of my job. And then the other side of thing is in my company, I set up a data volunteer team. So some of us not necessarily come from a traditional data science background, but want to do more thing with data. So we got a lady that who used to be a nurse in the data science team. We got a gentleman that who is a PhD student that who in mathematics in there. So we just get more experience. So we're working with different charity about like how can we use data to improve the charity on different things. Like we recently helping a charity called Age UK for them to understand where the cancer patient who is older, how can we treat them a little bit better, for example. And then we recently also help another, we're working with a different school to teach them how to do like data science type, like because coding is not something that we teach at school. So we kind of bring it in like a after school club kind of thing to teach them that way from a basic thing, how can we do like data visualization? How can we make a TikTok video based on the TikTok that we got and things like that? So it's more fun rather than like a school curriculum. So yeah, that's how I am today.
Wow, the work you do seems really novel. I was just wondering, because you work in the healthcare industry, how did the
Yeah,
pandemic really affect the way things worked?
your question actually. So people doesn't like change. So that's the first thing, right? So pandemic for me is good because good in let me tell you what is the good way. Not that that we having a pandemic is good. So because when all human being is the same, right? When we get used to do things in one way and they work, we just keep doing it. Sometimes we don't think about why we're doing it, right? But from a data scientist, from my point of view, is when during the pandemic, because no one experienced this before, we all trying to figuring out what is going on and what is the new way of working is good or bad or just what can make things better from job perspective because like I said, my job is about looking at the patient to see whether what kind of treatment or disease that they got would be better than the other, right? So for me, it's because of the pandemic, we allowed to use what we learned from school to do the project and forecast. So because we don't know the world, it's like, for example, in 2020, when we in lockdown, we are trying to figure out is like how long this lockdown period it is, and also how to affect the patient, right? So you want to know that if what kind of patients should be in the hospital, who is not, and why it is, and things like that. And there's no right answer, that it's a different way of doing it. So from a data scientist or mathematics point of view, I can make a lot of mathematical model to predict the world. So that is something that I find it very exciting, because I finally able to use what I learned from school or university to do my job. That is more than before. And another good thing I would say is that because we can work from home, so we are able to spend more time on work and other things as well. So for example, I don't need to travel to work for every 2 hours a day anymore. So one of my hours is like now, even now, is I like to work from home. At the same time, I spend that 1 hour time maybe working with girls like you, that I talk to you about my experience, or I recently have a girl that she's in just pre-university. She want to have some job experience, but we cannot find anything because it's very difficult. So we are doing a 10-week long data science project together. So for me, it's like I'm able to spend more time with her because it's online, and also people are happier to be online now. So it's like the restriction about that I need to be with you in the same room taken away. So another thing I would say, the international community as well. So we talk more because we kind of like being forced to be like, if you don't say anything now, no one can hear because we cannot see your body language anymore. So we encourage you to be more vocal on things. So yeah, that is what I think.
That sounds great. And I was also just wondering, where do you sort of see this field of like mathematics, data science, and like healthcare, like a decade into the future or like a few decades into the future?
We are still in the beginning of the AI or machine learning area, right? So we still new. So that is what a lot of things that we still don't know yet. But I think technology can help about diagnosis about people, how can be more accurate. So that is one thing, and also about improving the quality of life too. So when you're sick, you're already quite sad already, right? You on your own is already sad, but at the same time, is people around you also being really depressed and upset as well. So if we got more information about what is going on, people feel more settled, I would say. So when you know, sometimes it's like the unknown that fear you. So I think data and mathematics and things like that can help to ease that mental health issue, because sometimes when people feel unknown and scared, they they go to the wrong way. But when they know more information and more knowledge that they got, that means that they feel like they can make better decisions. So that is how I think that math and data science and technology can do in the future. But if you ask me in 10 years time, do we have our job or the robot can do the surgery for you and things like that? I think we are not there yet, but hopefully we're getting a little bit more how to using technology in our life to make ourselves better.
And then, do you have any recommendations or pieces of advice for young students or particularly young girls who are interested in mathematics or working in the healthcare industry?
I break it down to three different angle for a minute, if that is, if you don't mind. So because I'm come from a Chinese background, and what I found is being a Chinese girl, we we it's sometimes being quite discouraging as in excel in school, or quite, I don't know what is the world is, but at the moment I still feel that the inequality about like the boy at home in the Chinese household is better treated than the girl. Sometimes it's not like, oh, they got a better or something. It's not like that. It's just the way of encouragement that we got is slightly less. So I hope that my story can tell you that we can also do something great as well. And if something you love, like mathematics, is in your heart, you will find a way of do something with it that you can support yourself and also you find some enjoyment out of it. So that is my first encouragement. Second is for me coming from an immigration background, some English is not my first language. I sometimes find it embarrassed to speak in English because of my accent, because of, sometimes you just can't help it because I can't really excel in English. I'm not saying that you cannot be communication with people. It's not about that. But sometimes I just feel like I cannot articulate well compared to a lot of other people that are good at English. But it's because of my culture and things like that. So I would say don't be afraid that English is not your second language, and don't be afraid of people say that, oh, you got accent, because accent doesn't stop communication. And if you think that you got accent is fine, so me and you, we maybe need to spend a little more time to understand each other a little bit more, or I need to speak a little bit more and clearer. Or if that is still not okay, we can always write to each other. And there's a lot of more methods about communication. So don't be afraid. And also sometimes if you don't understand something, you can say, hey, stop, I don't I don't understand you, but I don't know. I understand. Like for example, even yesterday, I was in a work meeting. I that is the first time I hear one vocabulary. I honestly do not. I never. It's not my. I have a problem with English. It's not about it. It's just I just don't understand that word. So I just say, oh, I'm sorry, I cannot. I don't understand that word. Means is that okay that you rephrase the question for me? Or can you explain what you're trying to say? So it's okay to ask questions. So that is the one thing. And second thing is the last thing I would say is the world is changing. Is There is no one way of doing things. You can be the pioneer that to how things have been done. So for myself is a lot of people was surprised when I say that I got a company that who work with corporate company like government or pharmaceutical company, but at the same time, I'm working with a lot of charity. A lot of people didn't realize you can do that, but I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not saying that it's not a wrong road to go. It is hard because it's that when you do something that is not normal pathway, but it doesn't mean that it's not the right things to do, or people don't support you because sometimes they don't understand where you're coming from. So for myself, will be like I really enjoy working in healthcare, but at the same time, I think charity need help too. And I think my skill set can also help them and work with them. But compared to like pharmaceutical company, they do not have that much money to invest in innovation and things like that because financially they are not. So for me is I'm able to support myself through corporate assignment, but at the same time I can support a smaller community of their work to do. That is my heart, that is something that I would call myself successful. But if you ask me, if you say that your measure of my success is using financial or money and things like that, I would say that I'm not a millionaire. I'm not, but it doesn't mean that I cannot support myself in life or I cannot help people. But just that. But if success is about money, I would say that, oh, I'm not successful. That is quite an Asian measurement and stuff. But at the same time is I'm okay. I'm just not rich, but it doesn't mean that I'm not doing the thing that I want. I'm still a good person. I still want to help people. I still want to do stuff that I enjoy, but at the same time I excel with. Then I'm hoping to influence other people that who got similar heart will follow the footstep. So for me, if you said to me that after you listen to my call and you just want to know a little bit how to do volunteer work, for me, it's a success. So so that is what I think is like what you want to do. You don't need to be inspired or traditional way. Sometimes when you talk to one person or something new is already an inspiration. You don't need to know the answer, but you can explore the answer.
And then sort of on that same note, what recommendations do you have for volunteer work?
I think it depends on what you want to do. Like, so for example, like if you're saying that you being a number or math is your thing, then I would say there is a lot of charity doing the even in high school, for example, we need help from a high school student to help the primary school student that to learn mathematics. So I work with a charity that we do kind of like how to mix math fun for children that were 4 to 7 years old. So we can create a game. So basically, from a high school kid, like you guys can help us is, oh, how can we design a game that is suitable for younger children? Right. So that is the one thing. Second thing, I would say that your generation, now I'm a lot older than you guys, so that is why I keep saying that. I already graduated from uni for more than 25 years. So it's like you can see the age gap. So for me is I sometimes want to do data personalization in like TikTok and Instagram and things like that. But you guys are much better on things like that than I am. My generation do not have that kind of thing. So we can work together to say that, oh, I got a piece of information that I want to send it over. How can I make it interesting? How can I make that is like suitable for you guys to know? So for example, I'm recently doing a piece of work about how can sex education about contraception. So that the focus area will be teenager or early 20 and people like that. But I don't know what is the best way for me to transfer that information to you. So I need to work with you guys to find out the best way to moving forward. So charity like those, you can do it. That will be more skills based. If you want to be more in coding as well, because a lot of young, at the moment, like social media and things like that become more day-to-day kind of thing, like data. So you can help teaching your colleague and classmate that, I'm good at number and coding. Can I teach them? And also your parents too. You may be surprised that how many of them do not know how to do coding, how many of them cannot do calculation and things like that. So you can help them. And last but not least, I think the other piece of information that will be quite interesting is so I recently did a piece of charity project about older gentlemen or older person that who got dementia. So as you mean, basically they're losing their ability to live anymore, not anymore, but like lose, the decreasing. So what we're trying to do is like we trying to creating a mathematical number game for them to play and that make them simulate. So, but the thing you would say that is it the same game that you create for children? I would say quite similar, but it's different approach, right? But it's something that we can also do it together. So I think it's no limit on what you want to do. It's just more about what you want to do and find out that if there's any charity or people that who got similar mindset that you can approach and ask, oh, if there is something that we can try, then we can try it out. So yeah, that is it.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing everything. It was really incredible talking to you.
Oh, thank you.